excited about. Welcome to WebEx, our December 2013 WebEx. We are recording now, so everybody gets to hear this at a later date if they so choose. Our plans have changed a little bit in the fact that our guest speaker, who I was very excited about, is unable to attend due to illness. She came down with a very bad case of strep and pneumonia, of all things. So she is not able to join us. And so since we were all ready to go with a WebEx, we just punted a little bit, modified our agenda, and we're still going to plow forward. So we are going to cover owner assistance tracking and the form that we have. We're going to go through the guidance, and there's a lot of questions about that at the work plan training that we had, so we're going to spend some time on that. And then we're also going to give Don and Courtney and Wayne a chance to give us an overview on work plans and the reviews and how those are going and what they're seeing. And so this is our modified agenda for today. I know it's not quite as exciting as a guest speaker, but we hope you still are able to gain some valuable knowledge from it. So with no further ado, we are going to pull up our owner tracking. So this is the form that we looked at last time, and then we also have a guidance document, which is what we're going to look at here. So let me zoom in a little bit for you guys so it's a little easier to see. How's that look for everybody?
No, if you don't want to, no. It's something
crazy it doesn't look good to you?
Starting in 2016.
Just a friendly reminder, if you guys do need to talk or step outside or take another call, do not put us on hold, and feel free to mute your line as needed.
That was not me talking.
That wasn't you?
No, that's somebody else. I have my name up there, so I'm not unknown caller. It will show my name.
All right, all right. It sounded a little bit like you, so I'm not sure who I was picking on then. All right. Courtney and Wayne, do you want me to go through this, or would you like to take the first stab at it?
Hi, Sam. Yeah, so it's myself, Don, and Wayne who are here. The rest of the, I don't know if you can see the screen. Remember, the rest of the East Beadlaw unit is in the background. Yes, we can start, Sam. If you don't mind, maybe we'll go back to the form for a moment, and we'll talk about the form first. Thank you. Yep, so everyone should see that now, and all county feedlot officers should have been sent this already. It was distributed by Maxpo. You've also seen this at last week's work plan WebEx. And we heard some comments, we heard some questions. That's why a guidance document has also been provided to you. So I think maybe we'll start by seeing if there are any immediate questions about the form. So for folks that are out there, feel free to chat, feel free to raise your hand or just speak freely. Has everyone gotten to see the form?
Yes.
Oh, everybody's really quiet this morning. We're not seeing any chats coming in yet. But there was quite a few carryover questions, I think, about maybe I can generate. Don, do you have that list that I emailed you of the questions that we held off on?
I don't have them with me.
Okay. Maybe I can pull those up and we can start with those, Courtney?
That'd be great. Thanks, Sam.
Okay. You guys get to see my emails, so hopefully it's all work related here, so there's no funny jokes for you guys to laugh at me about, right? Let's see. Where did I? let me just look in my sent items because I am still sharing my desktop. And 2, and it went to, you guys are so quiet. Is everybody still asleep out there, or what's going on? Someone talk to me. Let's see. Here we go. This is our email that we need. So this is some of the questions that came in first. Where can I find this form? And Courtney, you just said that it is currently, has been sent out to all the CFOs, right?
It's not there yet.
Right, the form was sent out by Kathy Hendershite.
Okay. The next question was, does time spent on complaints get documented anywhere?
The answer is no. That's not owner assistance, that's complaints.
Okay.
Well, it's documented
All right.
under the complaint in Delta, but it's not documented on this form.
Okay. So those are the only questions that I had to get started, but people are pretty quiet. Why don't we dig into the guidance document and get them rolling with that? All right. Courtney, Don, did you guys want to start, or did you want me to cover this with folks?
Well, I think the biggest thing here is this form is only used to track time, not anywhere else. So if it's not tracking the annual report, plan, or assistance inspection, that's where it goes on this form. And the other thing is, too, you got to be real careful to only put 70/20 MPCA type work on here. Don't put this working with the CUP for a feedlot or county stuff or SWC work should not be put onto here. It's only stuff directly related to MPCA 70/20 feedlot rules and that kind of stuff. So, you know, if you're helping them with cost share, you know, telling them about cost share is probably a feedlot CFO duty, but to help them fill out the cost share application, if you work for an SWCD or working them after the cost share has been submitted, that becomes SWCD work. Same thing with county. If you're helping them fill out the application, that's fine, but you start filling out the CUP paperwork, then that's county work. So, your setbacks, if it's water quality setbacks, that's great, count it here. If it's determining a distance to a house, then that's county. So we want to make sure we're only counting stuff related to MPCA 70/20 type stuff here.
Wayne?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing that I was thinking we would do is this guidance document's very good, and I don't know how many of you have had an opportunity to read through it. And so if you haven't, I'm going to go through it in a little bit of detail here, and Wayne or Don, please, or Courtney, please stop me if I'm saying something that's not accurate or true to this. Most of you know the reason why we want to be doing this, and that kind of gets to better owner assistance information so that we can show the volume of work that you're doing to help the producers and help the agricultural industry. So it sounds like Rock County has been using it for a month, so maybe they can give us a little feedback as we go here about maybe scenarios and how they're doing this as well. If other counties have been using this, please feel free to give us some feedback and give some information about how this has been working for you. So we want to make sure it qualifies those owner assistance, as Wayne covered, and it's not counted elsewhere. So if it, if it's in your annual report or it's an inspection, those kind of things are covered elsewhere. Amount of time, and then the various categories. And so I want to touch on the various categories because I think that's one area where you have a potential to have a little bit of confusion generated. So got to note that there's a special consideration involved with on-site owner assistance in the assistance inspection. Assistance inspections are actually tracked in Delta, and that's designed to document your visit to the site. So let's see. That's a producer contact. That's when you actually go out there and you're doing the inspection purely for them to obtain assistance. So a lot of times we'll go out and go to a site and look at the site and help them fill out a permit application. That would be an on-site assistance inspection and not to be an entry on this tracking form. So here's again the tracking form with the various topics: owner assistance date, owner name. Is it a registered feedlot? Yes or no. Technical assistance, permit application assistance, land application and manure management assistance, and assisting owners in developing a new MMP. So this kind of gives you an explanation for each one of those headers. Owner assistance date, this should be pretty self-explanatory, the date the owner assistance occurred. For each new entry, use a new line. It does say you may enter multiple owner assistant categories on the same date. So if you spent time, if they came in and you spent time helping them fill out a permit application, they came into your office someday and sat down and said, I want to build a hog barn. And so you helped them fill out the permit application, and you talked about the MMP and explained, you know, is it transfer manure, da-da-da-da-da. So those could be entered on the same date. Owner name, that's pretty explanatory. Were they required to be registered by state rule? Technical assistance, so this is getting into that first category. To solve, so this is going after solving pollution hazards. Let's see, please limit entries into this column to assistance related to feedlot fixes. Technical assistance is a fairly broad term. Let's see, Dan says, Dan's got a question come in for us. It says, how are people planning on using this form? Use it as a hard copy and then enter into Delta, or just enter into Delta? I don't believe this is going to be entered into Delta, correct, Wayne? Or
No,
Courtney or Don?
We'll show how they're going to do it electronically here after we go through here. Once we go through the guidance document, we'll show you how the electronic version is going to look, and they can do it either, you know, there can be several ways they do it. They don't want to log in through Citrix every day, you know, just keep a paper copy on your desk and then just write it down, and then, you know, on a periodic basis once a month, go in through Citrix and update it. But you can go, if you want to, you can enter it every day, keep a paper copy for a while and update it. But we need it electronically so that when it's time to query all this, we can query it. But we'll show you how that's all done once we go through this document.
So to add a little bit more guidelines to the technical assistance piece, this owner assistance begins after an inspection and a compliance determination has been made. So if you go out to do a compliance inspection and you find they've got an open lot discharging to the road ditch, and they're going to need to figure out what might work. It says CFO may run numerous min farms, trying to say, okay, if he puts gutters on, is that enough to prevent this? If he reslopes the lot so it flows to a vegetated area, is that enough? So some of those things that you may be doing to support them and finding a low-cost fix or something like that to get that open lot corrected. And this just touches back on what Wayne was saying. SWCDs that are administering the feedlot program must be mindful of what is CFO time and SWCD time. So just keep in mind, read through this. If you have questions, please feel free to touch base with maybe start with Don if you've got questions about this. Is that a good place to start?
Yes, that'd be fine.
Okay. Running the initial min farm is not considered assistance, but subsequent to assist in the environmental fix, like the example I gave. Okay, any questions about the technical assistance portion?
Thank you.
Samantha, I think, again, an emphasis on technical assistance. I think it really is is about fixes at the site.
Sam?
Yes.
I always thought that running a min farm prior to application was part of assistance.
Prior to application for what, Mike?
for a feedlot, you know, for a permit. If you're just having running scenarios as far as min farm for pollution potential, isn't that assistance?
Well, the very first one should be to determine compliance. So if you're getting ready to issue them a permit,
Right.
so let's say that they want a construction short form because they want to build a new barn.
Yep.
And you want to make sure that the site is in compliance before issuing a construction short form. So that first min farm would not be considered assistance yet, but let's say you ran it and it was compliant, you have nothing else to do but work on the CSF. If it was not compliant, and then you started to run scenarios to help them and see if maybe in the interim permit you decide to issue, you can come up with some simple ways to address the open lot, that would be considered assistance.
Okay,
Does that help?
That was my intent of my question, so okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right, permitting, everybody's favorite topic, right? So a lot of us get those phone calls where we get a producer calling and saying, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about, I want to add 50 cows. What does that mean? So we get a lot of those phone calls, and these exploratory type discussions may or may not lead to permitting, but according to this, if I read the guidance correctly, they should be entered on the form as permitting assistance. So these would be nice to have something by your desk, or if you have a phone log, to write on your phone log when these occur, and so that you can track those or enter those. Once the permit is formally submitted to the permitting authority, these actions must no longer be attributed as permitting assistance. So when you actually get the permit in your hand and you start your technical review, that's part of permitting processing. So that the assistance piece stops. I would assume, though, and Wayne and Don, maybe you can answer this question, or Courtney, if you're sitting next to a producer and they're filling out the permit application, you have not taken receipt of it yet, that would be considered permitting assistance? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. The key there is once you date stamp and say, I have received this, then it becomes permitting. Anything you do before that is considered assistance. It's kind of the time frame we put in there. So if you're helping him fill it out, he gets done, he signs it, or she signs it, and you date stamp saying, I received this, anything after that, so you come back and say, oh, he forgot to do this, or she forgot to do that, that time's all considered permitting. That's no longer assistance. So use the date stamp as, when you date stamp it, is the start or finish of owner assistance. You date stamp it, owner assistance stops, and permitting begins.
Perfect. I like that there's a clear line. Please note there's a note here about conditional use permit applications, that those are not assistance. Doing that isn't counted. So that might be a little hard to pull apart for some of the counties, but you're going to have to do your very best to figure out when they're filling out their COP app and when they're filling out their feedlot app. And so even if they crisscross, which I know a lot of counties do, you might just take into consideration, okay, about you know, a quarter of an hour was spent purely on the feedlot aspect of this from 70-20. Any comments about that in Mankato?
No, I think that's right. You know, don't overthink it. Just use your best estimate. I mean, we're not having you have a stopwatch at your desk or anything, but just best guess, best estimate, use your best judgment, how much time is spent.
So the next piece is our land application and manure management assistance. So this is including time spent with a producer that has manure application records, and if applicable, an MMP. Let's see, what kind of examples do we give here? For example, a producer doesn't understand his consultant prepared MMP. And so a lot of them, when they get those NRCS plans, I'm guessing there's going to be a handful of you out there that have producers with those that don't have a clue what those may say, or they may seem confusing, and so you may point out what pages they should go to or what sections they need to look at to really apply what was prepared for them, because some of those can be fairly large plans, or what records they need to keep. So they may have been keeping records, but let's say that they calculated nitrogen balances wrong. And so you spend time helping them learn how to calculate a nitrogen balance. Let's see, how to calibrate a manure spreader. So, you know, this one I think is more about the work that you do to teach them about how to keep records. If they are keeping them, how to improve their records. This one's a little, you know, maybe we've got some examples at the end that might help us get a better take on it. Don, Wayne, Courtney, anything to add?
Well, you know, here there's a fine line too. Is you go out to a site and they have no records, and you explain to them, this is the records you're required to keep. That's part of the compliance inspection. But if they come in and say, oh, do you have any examples, or, you know, at a later time, then that can be counted as assistance. So there's a little more judgment in this one. You know, is it more compliance or is it more assistance? But if it's the first time, you tell them that they need to keep records. That's part of the compliance. So if they come in and ask for help in developing those records, then you could count it as assistance.
So this next one talks about assisting owners in developing a new MMP. This category is for situations where a feedlot is required to have a manure management plan and does not have one. Or the feedlot owner has more than 100 animal units and has not been maintaining records. So that's pretty straightforward. Be very cautious. This is just my personal opinion on writing manure management plans for producers, especially if you're going to be reviewing them. You need to be very conscientious of that. All right, any other comments or questions on land application and manure management assistance? Okay, then we have an other category, not listed yet. So other is probably just a catch-all, would be my guess, to catch the random things that we might assist on. I would guess that maybe, I don't know.
It can be a lot of stuff. You can be talking about dead animal disposal, composting. It could talk about maybe how to get cost share, you know, just saying here's the cost share availability. It's really a catch-all that is feedlot related, but is not tracked anywhere else. That it's a catch-all.
Good. All right, so next thing is don't record these in less than 15-minute increments. That's not reasonable. Quarter-hour increments makes a lot more sense. A quarter, half, 3/4, an hour. You're going to have to make that kind of decision on how much time you've spent. We just want to capture the owner assistance that you're doing so that we can report it well. Let's see, we've got some exercises. We'll work through these quickly. So here are some examples that they used when they developed this owner assistance form. The producer calls and spends 2 hours with the CFO discussing ideas for putting up a new swine barn. Pre-permit application situation. And qualifies for 2 hours of owner assistance. So they can put this under permit application or other depending on the content of the discussion. So, I've got one. Maybe this is for Don and Wayne, and maybe this is in here. What about, I'm going to throw out a scenario. I have a producer who called me, and he wants to stockpile turkey litter on the edge of the field, and he wants some help to determine if it is going to be a pollution hazard or not. And so I look at the soils for him, and I look at the setbacks, and I say, well, if you follow this and this, you'll be in compliance with 70/20. Where would that fall under owner assistance?
I would put that under the land app one, just because it's dealing with, you know, setbacks and manure application. In this case, you're stockpiling a short-term stockpile. Now, if it was a permanent stockpile, you'd probably put it under permitting. but being it's a short term, I would put under Land App manure management assistance.
And so, you know, first thing that popped into my head was maybe technical assistance because it was preventing pollution, but there had been no inspection involved. So I can see where Land App would be more appropriate.
Don't
Any other
overthink it.
Don't overthink it. That's,
you know, just put it where you think it best fits. We're not going to audit you on this, so if you get one wrong, you know, and really it should have been in permitting versus Land App, we're not going to take away any performance credits or anything. It's just put it where you think it's best. And here's, you know, all these examples are just kind of what we felt was the best place to put it. So if you put something wrong, don't worry about it. Just, if you feel it's owner assistance and it isn't covered anywhere else, get it on this form and put it in the best category which you think it fits into. Don't stress yourself over it. Don't, you know, don't make it so difficult that you hate using this form. Just put it in there.
just write it down and move on. Are there any other questions or scenarios that you guys would like to ask us about in regards to the owner assistance tracking form?
Well, Samantha, I would like to put Rock County on the spot if they're out there. I see that, you know, they have been testing it for us and using it for a month. Doug, if you're out there, would you like to give us your initial reaction so folks know what to look forward to?
My initial reaction was, why did I put that out there?
Sorry. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. The reason we've had it that long is, as a board, we looked at this and thought, I'm going to start using it right away just to kind of help clarify it in my mind, you know, how this will work. And as you went through the owner assistance, I think it really helped clarify or answer some questions that Mark and I were just talking about. I've done it since November, well actually it's been more than a month, November 4th I started this. And I have 18 names on there, varying times, and I think, you know, using the assistance that you have and Wayne's statement of don't overthink it is really good. The question that Mark and I were just talking about before you got to it in the owner assistance was when you have someone that needs a manure management plan, and then after they calm down and come back in, then you talk to them about what some of their options would be using the short form, or, you know, different consultants that may work with them, those kind of things. It actually fits well in the Land App and the manure management assistance. I have a lot of mine in the technical assistance, and as you guys were talking, I realized that some of it, you know, like as far as citing, is probably more in the permit application assistance, because I have a lot of people that come in and go, what if I do this? Where can I do this? What if I put a site here? Still, even after I moved those over into the permit application, I have the most of mine in technical assistance, and I like how you have defined kind of the points of where it stops with the actual inspection assistance or with the permitting process itself, like with the date stamp or when they apply for cost share. In looking at this, the one thing that still makes it difficult, and maybe if we just don't overthink it will help, and that's in when you're actually doing siting assistance. I had a young guy in, let's see, it was yesterday, and, you know, when Wayne started this, he said, well, if it's, you know, if it's a setback from residence or if it's a setback from a stream, those are two different assistances. And it's true, but we ran the gamut for about a half an hour from, let's see, it was setback from residence, setbacks from streams, setbacks from wetlands, and, you know, the conversation goes completely around the circle as far as looking at different sites. So it makes it hard to really define it, but maybe if we go back to the adage of don't overthink it, if we had, you know, half the time was towards environmental protection, then that's how we list it. So I don't know what else to say, but yeah, it's not that hard. I just keep it at, Mark and I both keep a paper copy at our desk. We just write it down and go from there.
Thanks, Doug. I really appreciate that. We had another question come in here, actually two now. One was, is it only eligible for feedlots with 10 to 50 animal units that we want to count assistance for?
No, it's everybody. That's why the registered feedlot no or yes is there. So if it's 3 horses, if you're providing assistance in any of those categories, you mark it down.
And what about registration assistance?
Oh, we didn't really think about that one. We figured we'd be done with it by the time this started. No.
Perfect for the other category.
Just put under other.
Yeah.
There you go. Tanya, you're doing it right. That's what she said. She's been putting it under other. She would think she'd put it under other.
We can show the electronic version here, Sam, if you want to give us the ball.
No problem. I had my hand ready to do just that.
Thank God I'm on mute because I'm in a web conference.
You're not on mute, though.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, goodness.
Anyways.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, my God.
Somebody
like
forgot
it,
to
yeah.
mute their line. That's too funny. I love it.
So here's this is what you should see on your, can everyone see the desktop here? Hopefully. Someone? Anyone? Bueller?
Yes.
All right. Anyways, this is your Citrix desktop. So this is something, you won't see this yet because this is on a secret server of Citrix. But you'll see the owner assistant shortcut. Just double click on it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Did they change the server?
No. Try it again.
I have the other one available if we need it.
Oh, here it comes.
It's on this server because we're testing it right now. It will be available January 1st. So thanks for...
You will see that icon there after January 1st. But when you click on it, this is what will come up. Pretty simple. You can put your county in, and you can either do it by selecting it, or you can just type in the county. You put the month and day in. And then the owner's name, if you know it. If you don't know it, just put unknown, but, you know. Put the owner's name. Is it registered? And then the type of owner assistance you did. So in this case, we're going to do some technical assistance. And we spent half an hour doing it, and we also did some permitting stuff. And we're going to put that in there for an hour. Hit submit and save. It asks, are you sure you want to do this? Because once you do it, it can't be edited. Click OK. There you go. It's just been submitted. It goes into a database that we're going to have locked because otherwise we got all kinds of securities on, so no one goes in there and erases the whole thing. So we're just going to have it. You submit it and save it, and then if you want a list of what you do, you can contact me, or probably just me, and I can give you a copy of what your county is. That way we don't have to spend a lot of extra time building security systems in so you can't erase it and doing backups and all that. So that's all you do. If you forget to put something in, so let's say I put Joe Farmer in again, and I forget to put the county and maybe the date in, but I do go like this, it's going to tell you, you must complete all entries on the form. Now, if you do, you can put down up to 3 at a time. If you have an instance where you do more, you just fill out another line for them. So you do Joe Farmer again, same date, but then you just put in the extra other 2 categories. But you put up to 3 categories on one entry here. So if Joe Farmer on January, or let's just do February 2nd or 3rd, and technical assistance, put a county in, and then the time spent.
Did you guys see the question come in, asking about different versions of Excel if they're compatible with the form?
This is going to be through Citrix. So it is only one version. It is our version of Excel. So whatever you have on your computer doesn't matter, because this will only be entered through Citrix. So it's the Excel version in Citrix that works. Don't have to worry about if you have a different version or not. Like I said, just hit submit and save, click OK if it's correct, and then when you're done, just click exit. Don't hit the X up here because then it's going to ask you to save, and it won't. Did George fix it? George fixed it. All right, but hit exit, and then you can exit out of the top there, and that's it. Any questions on that? So our suggestion is keep a paper copy next to your desk so you can scribble on it, and maybe once a month go in and update this. Shouldn't take a whole lot of time. Yesterday I sat down with Don and Courtney. We were going through work plans and got through half of them yesterday.
Yes.
And roughly 2/3 of the half, so about 17, 18 counties so far have said they are going to use the owner assistance form and keep track of it. So about 2/3 of the one half, that makes sense, have said we'll get a full number of how many are going to do it once we get through the work plans.
There's some questions that came in, Wayne. One was asking about whether, you said, could a feedlot registration ID field be included so we know exactly which feedlot was assisted? And what day will this go live? I think the live date is January 1st, correct?
January 1st is the live date, and we chose not to put the registration number in there. One, it just adds extra stuff that is not needed, and two, when we pilot this, the CFOs were overwhelmingly saying, no, don't put that in there because now I have to look it up, and I don't know that. I know their name, but I don't know their registration number by heart. So then it takes extra time to look that up. Again, we're not so much worried about the name. It's just to help keep track of, you know, did you already put that in there or not? It's not so much we're caring who you did a lot of owner assistance to. It's more of just helping keep track of, did I put that already in there or not? And Tracy asked, could you put the ID with the name if they have multiple sites? Hey, if you want to put Joe Farmer and his registration number on that line, by all means, go ahead. I don't think we limited that.
There's a comment that came in that said, reminder, if there are several feedlot people in the department, only one is necessary to collect data for that county. Is that true?
Yeah, we said that, although it would be nice if we had everyone so it's a more accurate data, but if only one person's going to do it, then we'll have to consider that. But, you know, the more data we have, the better a report can be. And what it comes down to is this is not for us, this is for the legislators.
For them.
Yeah, for the CFOs to tell their story to the legislators. Any other questions? If you have a question and you think of it later, by all means, you can email Don or me, and we'll get it answered. But the important thing is, don't overthink it. Just go what feels best to you. You know, if you're debating if it's half an hour or 45 minutes, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really going to make a bit of difference. Just do it and get it done. It's better to have something here than nothing. And hopefully, to those that have said that they're not going to use it, after seeing this, they realize that, oh, maybe that's not going to be that much work. They can change their mind, because if we can tell a story of all the programs, especially the, you know, minimally funded counties, which is a lot of owner assistance and not a lot of inspections and permitting, all the better. I mean, this is really what it comes down to is, this is telling what you're doing besides permitting and inspections, which is the majority of your time.
We had a couple more questions come in, Wayne. One, if we're using the Excel file that you sent out, I think that's the one that Kathy sent out, is there any way to transfer the data without having to re-enter it into Citrix?
I don't believe so. Not at this point.
And the next question is, how many counties are planning on using the form? And I think you said 17 or 18 had already said they would.
Well, yeah, out of the half, because we went through about half of the work plans yesterday, and I think between, I don't know, two-thirds of them, so.
Are using.
Or said they would intend to, so of 16, 17, 18, I don't remember what the number was exactly. Of the, say, 26 or 27 we reviewed, so, you know, if that keeps going forward, we're probably going to have, you know, probably 35, 36 counties doing it.
I think we have to say we're delighted at the participation rate.
Yes, we are. You know, originally it was said, well, we'll be lucky if we get a third of the people doing this. But that was the whole point, is try to make it easy enough and not overwhelming enough that it's a big issue. You know, we're talking maybe a couple minutes a day at most, and maybe 15 minutes a month to enter it in at the end of the month, unless you have a whole bunch. But like I said, if you got any more questions, by all means, feel free to contact me or Don, or even Courtney for a little bit here. Because we feel that this is very important for you guys to do and understand.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions coming in. It's about 10:46. Why don't we jump into maybe any of the comments that you guys wanted to share or talk about in regards to the work plan reviews?
Sure.
Well, this is Don here. It was just terrific response, and that all the work plans came in, you know, by the deadline. That's it just creates a good feeling for the program that kind of everyone's on the ball, and 2014-15. Beyond that, Wayne and Courtney and I looked through 27 of them yesterday, and I'm going to run through about 4 things here of just what we saw. Generally, counties are setting good to great production site inspection goals. As far as setting land application review inspection goals, I'd say they're more modest. Some of them are good in that area. So that's a real strength. And of course, as already been mentioned, there's a high owner assistance participation rate. We've seen some, I guess, parts of the work plan, especially in compliance strategy area, where we were not very clear in the work plan on the intent, where we wanted CFOs to set timelines by when they would take actions, compliance actions, like when will you make sure you get that inspection letter out to the CFO, if you don't, or to the feedlot owner. If you do not hear back from the feedlot owner, when do you do follow-up with the feedlot owner? So, as we communicate back to you, we'll generally say, comment on the strengths of your work plan, and then I'd say in almost most cases, I don't know if we've had a perfect work plan yet, we'll probably say something like, could you provide more specificity as far as like a time frame when you plan to get back to a producer that hasn't responded. So, that's that's kind of the highlights there.
We're looking for more specific, because
Yeah.
we saw a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
will be timely
Yeah.
after a significant amount of time passes.
Yeah.
We're actually looking for more specific.
Like number of days, you know, we know you're setting goals here, but that's good. We've had appropriate, significant, timely. So we'll just ask you to replace that with something numeric. And then the final piece that we recognize has been a confusion with the work plan is this minimum inspection rate table. And when the email goes back to you, it will contain your work plan, but we will probably show a modified table there on, for the inspection rate. It's under minimum inspection program requirements. Right now there are 3 line items there. I think we're going to reduce that to 2 line items, and the 2 line items will be the total number that you have required to be registered in your county, and then the number that represents the 7% inspection rate. And we're just going to identify that line item as the statute required 7% rate. We're not going to say anything whether that's an agency or a county agreed upon rate. We think that's caused confusion to the work plan, because you have the goal setting, the inspection goal setting in the first part of the work plan, and then you have the minimum program requirement section of the work plan, and we want to make, we want you to live up to your goals, and then we also want a statement what is required by statute. So kind of keep those 2 distinct. Wayne, do you want to say any more about that?
No, I think that covers it pretty good. One other thing that we did see is in the MPR section, the last couple of pages where you check yes or no, people were modifying the MPRs. No, you can't do that. The MPRs are the MPRs, and if there is an option to modify it, it's already included within that MPR. We saw several where they wrote narratives in that section, and no, that's not going to be allowed. So the MPRs are set, and that's what is defined in the MPR. So if you get something back on that, that's what that's related to.
One more comment, I think, of the impact of this new work plan and all the work we put into it was we are that in many counties about half the sites have never been inspected. And it's just really good to see that counties have, in most cases, designed a strategy where they will get to those sites in the next 5 years. And I think that's an area that's kind of been a black eye for a long time, and that we're going to be cleaning up now. The same thing goes for open lots, where there's been OLAs and we don't know the status.
But overall, I say, they were fairly good-looking work plans. You tell there was a lot of thought put into some of them. I mean, a lot of thought.
Yeah.
Good job on that part, and we'll be reviewing the rest of them here in a short amount of time and getting them back to you all with what recommendations are for so that can be approved. But I think for the most part, they're pretty minor things that we were looking for in the ones that we did.
Right.
Any questions?
One question came in, Wayne. It says, when do you expect to have them back to the counties?
Well, with Christmas coming up here shortly, I got to look at what I approved for Don to be off. I think I took away all his Christmas holiday, but hopefully, right around that first week of January would be the absolute latest we would hope to get them back to everybody.
I'm sure we won't get them all out by when the 25th is a week from today.
Yep.
So, okay. So they won't all get out before that time. So, but we'll be getting some of them out, and then some between Christmas and New Year's. So.
One more question. Once the work plan is returned, it would need to be signed by the county board and sent to who? And when do you want to have them back with signatures from the county boards?
So you get signed by your county board, you can just give it to your regional rep at that point. And, hopefully with the not starting the reviews until after February 1st, hopefully you get it back, get it approved, and by the time you do your annual review with your regional person, you can just give it to them then. Otherwise, get it to your regional person after that point.
So I just summarized that and said the work plans can be returned to the regional MPCA staff, and then you can provide them with a signed copy from the board, maybe at your year-end review.
Yep.
Okay. Are there any other final questions out there? Please chat. Oh, we have one more. When will registered farm numbers be updated on the work plan?
Well, you have till February 1st to get that into Delta, so anytime after the 1st, we, unless someone requests an extension or something for some unknown reason, we haven't heard of anyone saying they're having troubles yet, but after February 1st.
All right. Well, if there's no other comments or questions that need to come in, we are going to have a short WebEx today, and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hope you enjoy your time with family and friends and maybe time away from work. And we'll all come back refreshed and ready for 2014.
Thanks,
have a
everybody.
good day and have a good meeting in the East Unit.
Yeah.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.